Nate, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War is coming out soon.
COD zombie fans.
Ooh, a little reference there to voiceover Pete.
Yeah.
Nice, that won't be a dead meme by the time you get to it. Hey, anyways, this game's coming out, and today we're taking a look at the top 5 Black Ops series maps of all time. Now, here's one thing worth noting before we get into it. It's pretty widely regarded and understood that Black Ops 3 and 4 are not nearly on the level of 1 and 2. However, they do still have some good maps, which we're going to get into a bit later on in the list. Number 5! So starting at number 5, we actually have Carrier from Call of Duty Black Ops 2. Nate, what makes this actually special? I'm anticipating an answer other than it's cool and it's on a boat. So you better impress me.
I'll give you something else. It's on an aircraft carrier. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of cover, like you said. There's a lot of different lanes, a lot of routes. A lot of like the map aesthetic, if you will, is really cool because there's a lot of like planes and broken down debris and things like that on it. It makes for a really cool design choice.
Yeah, and there's a lot of different places to have engagements too. There's short range, mid range, long range. One place I'm thinking of too is, you will have a lot of snipers on this map.
Yeah.
We have to play these maps on combat training now, and it's not just because we're bad, but all these games are hacked other than Black Ops 3 and 4 on PS4 and Xbox One. The 360 backwards compatible titles are just hacked to hell, sadly. But, you will have a lot of snipers sitting way across, and that actually leaves them vulnerable too, though, from multiple angles. So
because the map is so big.
Yeah, so, somebody might sneak up behind them, somebody else might snipe them. There's a lot of different things that leave snipers vulnerable on this map while also giving them an advantage. You have things like the ramp that goes up partway that you can lay down on and try to shoot over, but then you're exposed from behind. There's the whole lane actually inside the cabin of the carrier on the side where you can go down and in. It's a bunch of different types of engagements that are allowed here that I think makes this really neat. And I do think the iconic setting helps it out a lot too.
Yeah, it has a little bit of everything.
Number 4! So our next one is actually Summit from Black Ops 1, and it is worth mentioning that a lot of these maps would get brought up later on in different titles. I know Summit was also brought into Black Ops 3,
and
verbatim.
4.
And 4, I think
actually
they reskinned it.
2, I think it was in there also.
Was it in 2?
I think so.
I know it was reskinned at least once. So, just completely.
Yeah.
And it was not during the winter for that version.
Right.
But the classic Summit was very interesting. It does allow, like we said, a lot of different engagements still. Most of them are mid to close range on this map. There's not much long range at all.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different lanes and avenues. I do think that little, it's not a rail car. What do you call it? The little car that's sitting off. It's like a
cable car.
A cable car or a ski lift or whatever you'd call it.
Yeah.
That over on the side is an interesting place where you can kind of go and camp if you want to, but you're also very exposed there.
Yeah, I remember when this map first came out, like when I first started playing Black Ops, and I used to go hide in there basically that was back when that wasn't a well-known spot.
Yeah.
So like you could go in there and like camp and shoot everyone, and people get so mad because they didn't know. Remember when they didn't even know how to get up there?
Yes.
Like people are like, "Wow, how'd you do that?"
Yeah. It was really just a precise
awesome.
Jump.
Yeah.
But overall, what do you think about this map, even other than that one spot, which was great? There's lesser known areas in this map, but I think a lot of the engagements take place in one center lane of the map. It's obviously that middle building and also the spawn zones.
Yeah, well, most of the engagements are just in that building, which create a lot of cool settings. Because if you're actually on the floor where all those machines are, you can get shot from above. You can get shot from like all angles. There's at least 3 or 4 entrances into that specific area. If you go down the top floor, you can get, there's 2 entrances on both sides with some stairs and the cool glass. You can actually go out on like the veranda or whatever that's called. So it just makes for a lot of different options. I think it's pretty obvious that this map is a classic.
Yes.
Like, this is literally one of the greatest maps of all time. Just in Call of Duty
in Call
history.
of Duty in general, yeah.
So
Number 3! Hijacked from Black Ops 2. Eventually, this was actually known enough, though, in the community that it was brought to Blackout mode, which was the Battle Royale for Black Ops, which we now know is they're doing Warzone instead, which is something a little different, but regardless, that's an aside. This is a really interesting map. It's very small. It's one of the smallest maps in the Call of Duty series, I'd say. Even though sometimes I've seen it called a mid-sized map, it's not really mid-sized.
No.
It's tiny, and even though it is a little longer, the corridors are so narrow that you have very little room to move in these engagements. You can sort of go up above in either of the cabins and shoot down. It's just a small luxury, not even a cruise liner. It's like a tiny yacht.
Yeah. Yeah, it's... Now, I would say they would put mid size, because I would put, like, Nuketown.
As the smallest?
Or Dome.
Yeah.
Or, you know, Rust or stuff like that is small. But Hijack, like you said, is also small. I think it's more long, but there's also 3 levels.
Right.
Because there's the main level, and then the upper level in the both cabins. But then there's also that forgotten lower level.
Yeah, no one ever really seemed to go there.
Yeah, no one goes down there, but yet it's there.
Right.
And you can actually get from like one end of the map to the other through there.
That was another thing that would always annoy people, is how'd you get behind me?
It's like, yeah, I just went underground.
Under what?
Yeah. Oh, another cool part about this map I thought was the hot tub.
Yeah, that is fun.
It's like, I don't know, it's just kind of cool.
I know, there's a lot of set pieces in this. I do think that Black Ops had its own style, especially back in 1 and 2, and that really does shine through on Hijacked. Number 2! Another one that it shines through on is Firing Range. This is a map that would come back over and over again as well. This is really a classic. To some people, this is the best map in the entire Black Ops series. We do think there is one better that we will get to after our honorary mentions.
Overgrown.
But, yeah, definitely overgrown.
Greatest map.
Firing Range was interesting because you had a lot of different movement that wasn't necessarily other enemies. So you would have those targets pop up that looked like a person that would move back and forth.
Yeah.
Sometimes that would confuse the player. Sometimes people would use that as cover. Most, if not all, of the structures can be shot through to some extent with bullet penetration because they're wooden. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of different stuff going on.
A lot of penetration.
Yeah, lots of penetration going on
So-
this map. Not quite enough, though, for my taste, but
No,
hey.
you want more.
I'd want another 69% penetration if
Okay.
possible.
Well, this map features a couple of my favorite spots. I don't know what that was.
You
but,
tried.
So I like going up in the tower, the sniper tower.
Yeah.
And then also that one side of the map where you have like the long hallway, if you will, by the
corridor,
jungle.
yeah.
Well, the one by the jungle.
Oh.
And then, I have that building where you can actually just sit up in
Okay,
and
yeah.
shoot out. I like going in there like with a sniper.
So you're a camper.
I am a camper.
Okay.
I'm a douchebag. I'm the people I complain about. But
Well, one thing I do like about the maps that we've been talking about, though, is they don't set you up for camping in spots where you're invulnerable. Somebody who's good can kill you very easily in spots like you're describing with a grenade or anything like that. It's not like you are glitching the game or going somewhere where, oh, well, now this person's untouchable and they're just going to get a gunship.
right.
Unless everyone else is terrible.
Yeah, a lot of these spots have multiple avenues to get behind someone.
Yeah.
So, like, if you're a sniper in that sniper tower, for example, you can climb the ladder if you want. You'll probably get gunned down, but you can do that. Or you can just lob a grenade in there.
Yeah.
And it has a roof in it, so you can just bounce it off the top of the roof.
Yep.
So, that is a nice thing about Firing Range, at least, is that there's not a spot, just a camp, where you're just a god.
Right.
So, but the map itself is also really cool. There's a lot of different avenues and things like that. If you're having struggles with one lane of the map, you can just pick like 3 others.
Yeah, exactly. So next up, we are into our honorary mentions. We will actually do a little bit quicker. The first is Grind from Black Ops 2. We actually were introduced to this map, though, in Black Ops 4 because we didn't have the DLC for 2 when that launched. Yeah, very poor. That's why people should contribute to the Patreon, where you can get access to actually about 30 videos and growing that are exclusive to patron members. Be sure to check that out in the description down below. The Patreon is down there if you want to support the channel in that way and help us afford map packs. I mean, do our job.
Thank you, Microtransactions. Very cool.
Anyways, let's move on. Grind, maybe part of this is nostalgia, part of it is the whole skater scene, and part of it is that I'm getting really back into Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2. But the fact that you have a skate park inside of Call of Duty is really interesting. There's a lot of different... Wow, somebody's really revving their engine out there. There's a lot of different areas where you can take cover. A lot of different places where you can kind of get behind stuff, obviously, and move around in different pathways. There's so many different ramps and just stylized places in this map that I think it makes it overall really interesting. It's colorful. There's nothing really bad to say about it.
Yeah, one of my favorite parts about it is actually the graphics.
Yeah.
It's really bright, but it's bright in a way that it really emphasizes a lot of the color and like the skate park of it and everything. It has an overall really cool design that is very unique. It's not just your standard typical war-torn Afghanistan map like Modern Warfare likes to do, but
that's a big problem with newer Call of Duties as well compared to these older ones.
Yeah, it's just kind of unique. It's fun, it's interesting, it's something new, and it's not just cool. It's actually a well-designed map.
Yep.
There's like 3 or 4 different lanes you can go on. They're all different. They're all unique. They all have their own different kinds of cover and everything. It's a great map overall.
Great map, very stylish and specific to the Black Ops franchise. Really kind of encapsulates that cartoony style. The next one is Dareshatten. This one is a really funny name. This is supposed to be underneath Der Eisendrache, now like down the hill. Der Eisendrache, the zombies map from Black Ops 3.
Yeah, the COD zombies.
Yeah, there we go. This is actually interesting because it's one of the few maps that has tons of zombie references. You can go inside the robot from Origins or a robot like it from Origins, kind of up in the head and shoot out of that, which is pretty cool. There's a lot of crashed parts of, I believe, a giant robot that form different avenues.
Like his hand and stuff like that.
Yeah, and you know what? It's interesting because, yes, it has elements from Der Eisendrache. It also has elements from Gorod Krovi in some ways. Like, some of the lanes and stuff like that are very interesting. Overall, I think that this is up there, though, not because it's the most special map of all time, but because it really was able to blend together zombies and multiplayer.
Yeah, and it's the only map that actually does that.
Yeah.
So I thought it was very unique, and I also thought it was cool how it wasn't just a zombies map.
Yeah.
It was a multiplayer map with zombies elements.
Yes.
So
Black Ops 4 was able to do that very well. I think despite the failures of 3 and 4, they had zombies elements down, like completely on lock. They did a very good job with those. So the final honorary mention we do have is Aquarium from Black Ops 3. It is the only Black Ops 3 map to make it on here. I think Redwood was Black Ops 3, right? We were thinking about that. 3. We were thinking about that, but it just didn't quite make it. This map, though, is interesting because I think you pointed out there's a lot of ways to combine water and ground combat together.
Yeah, that was one thing I actually loved about Black Ops 3 and Black Ops 4. Was how the water was actually incorporated into the multiplayer.
Yeah.
So, and it wasn't just there. You could actually swim in it. It wasn't, you could swim underground a lot of times, like through areas to get to other parts of the map. That was one thing I liked about Aquarium was you have the center lane, but then you also have the 2 side lanes, which both featured like a huge pool. And the pool's connected too. So you could like swim under the ground. We have like literally the Korean War going on outside.
It's like a air carrier going over us.
We have Carrier from Black Ops 2 going over us.
No, yeah, you're right. So, I mean, there were so many different ways to do that. You can kind of move around enemies under the water. You can shoot underwater. I thought that was neat.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Doesn't make much sense if you know how guns work, but I suppose there are guns that work underwater.
It makes sense.
Maybe every gun in
Black
Ops is that. You're right. I'm sorry.
It works.
I'm sorry, John Treyarch. I'm sorry about that. I didn't mean to question you and Michael Activision there.
Michael Activision.
So I think that's a lot of the reasons we like it. And also it's just very stylish with the waves and the background and everything. Very cartoony. Again, it very much marries that sort of real life style to the cartoony style of Black Ops. It just works.
Number one. It's number one. Number one.
Number one. What else could it be? We didn't just pick this because it's popular. We picked it because we love it. Nuketown. All of them really, but I think Nuketown 2025 is actually our favorite.
Yeah.
I think.
Followed by the Russian one.
Do you think the Russian one? Yeah, I think
probably
the Russian
my
one
second favorite.
It's probably my second favorite as well. Then you have the original one, and then you have the Black Ops 3 one. I'm sure this map has popped up elsewhere as well because it's in everything that your grandma's toaster can run.
It's actually not in. It's actually not. Oh, never mind. No, it is. I was gonna say it's not in Blackout. But it is. There's a whole island called Nuketown Island, so
Yeah.
never mind.
It's pretty
It
much
is in
everywhere.
Blackout.
Yeah, and that was a really cool version of it too. But overall, I don't think the aesthetic matters as much. That's more just a cosmetic pack or upgrade to
Yeah.
it. It's really just the fact of how small this is, how there's really nowhere that's safe for campers. I mean, even if
It's
you're
not
camping,
a safe space.
No, absolutely not. It's everywhere is somewhere that you are going to get triggered with a grenade.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's really nothing here that is bad about this map. I can't believe when some people hate on this map. It's really weird to me. It's very hipstery.
Yeah, it seems kind of weird because this map has pretty much anything. If you want to snipe, you can even snipe on this map, as weird as it is. You know, there's a lot of different lanes you can go on. Even on the sides of the building, you can see pretty much... Like, I remember there's one side of the building, you can actually see across the entire map.
Yeah.
So, there's just everything.
The garages, there's the style. The style of this map was updated every single game as well, which was really interesting because they would have the classic style, you know, for more of just the nuclear testing site. Then they had the more upgraded style for 2025, the Russian testing site style. They had the style for the, I don't know if it was an EMP bomb or what it was for Black Ops 3. It was always being updated, but it was always very colorful, very small, and just very vibrant. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a reason why Nuketown 24/7 has been a playlist to pop up in every single Black Ops game, and why I'm sure it will continue to do so in Cold War.
Yeah. I'm actually excited to see what they add in for Cold War.
Me
for
too.
Nuketown.
It's actually going to be a
So.
big, giant, walking robot of Ronald Reagan talking about tearing down the
Ooh.
wall, Mr. Gorbachev.
Nice, I like
Yeah.
it.
So, hey, let us know what you think in the comments down below. What are your favorite maps from the Call of Duty Black Ops series? Do you have any others that we didn't mention, or any that you think, maybe that's not as good as we thought it was? We're interested to see your takes in the comments down below. Be sure to check out the links, as always, in the description. We've got a Reddit. We've got actually a Discord with tons of people. We are approaching 1,000 members on Discord. We have got a Patreon, like I said, where you can help us support and find more map packs. And also a Twitter, Instagram, everything. We'll see you in the next one. Have a fantastic day. And as always, stay shway.